Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum, boys and girls. Welcome to the one podcast that you have to watch tonight. Welcome to the one podcast that can change your life tonight. Welcome to the one podcast that is celebrating its 100th episode live here with you, our friends, our family, our fans. It's you who make the show so that we can watch this 100th episode together. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the hardest working imam that I know, Imam Azhar.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Greetings and peace to all of you. I was actually gobsmacked halfway when Carl was speaking. If this episode's going to be life changing, I wonder what we can say for that to happen. But nevertheless, welcome to all of you. And I want to begin by sharing a reminder that one of our teachers taught us many years ago, decades ago actually, that you never know which gathering, which sitting, which topic, what discussion that you are a part of will actually change your life, will actually inspire you to do better, which will allow you to stand on your two feet and act and pursue goodness and pursue change and shake this world, because this world is round and this world is home to all of us, and this world is where we all can make a difference. If we remember notable individuals of the past in our history that have shaped our earth and changed our world, imagine if 20 of us, imagine if 2,000 of us, imagine if 2 billion of us do the same thing at the same time. Its results are epic. So welcome to our 100th episode here at Raw Islam, and truly today is just one of those pinching moments. I'm pinching myself and asking, have we reached 100? It seems like a small number in our day and age, where $100 really don't go far, and 100 of anything really is a small number. But truly, 100 episodes every week, having the honor to sit across from my dear brother Carl and converse with you, our audience, and then as we evolve, for our audience to converse with us, and then for our audience to tell us what to conversate about. It's been an epic journey, and we just pray tonight for 100 and maybe 100 more than that. But moving back to what we usually do every week is I would have turned it back to Carl and asked him, Carl, what was the poll this week? That amazing poll that you put out every Monday afternoon on Twitter to engage our listeners and ask them what the topic was. Carl, what was our poll this week?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, every Monday we post a poll to Twitter on the VennNetwork, VennNetwork, where you can go and take part in the poll, and you can control what we talk about this evening on our show, because we're here for you guys. We're here to communicate with you. We're here to entertain you. We're here to educate you. And so this week we posted the poll, and the options were: I will post about number 100, I will send a text, I will leave a voicemail, and what's the deal with 100? And the poll was posted, and as you can see on your screens right now, the winner is what's the deal with 100? So apparently either some people don't know or it's their first time tuning in. I'm not sure which, but that was the poll. And if you want to take part in that next time, make sure you follow us on Twitter at VennNetwork, VennNetwork. And before I turn it back to Imam Azhar, I will say that we have some comments already rolling in. We have Sunshine on our YouTube channel saying, "What's up?" And she posted a bunch of little 100 emojis. Thank you for that. And she said, "What's the deal with LOL? It was rigged." It was not rigged. I did not rig that. It was, I was actually highly entertained. You know, it's very seldom that I get to post something like that. And I get to go, yay, my part of the poll won. But there it is. And before I turn it back, we did get one email from, I hope it's okay if I say her name. Sister Layla emailed us. She sent us a message and she says, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah barakatuh. First, I would like to say congratulations on your 100th episode. Yay! She didn't type that. I just said it. I've really enjoyed and have learned throughout the year. Actually, it's years, believe it or not, since I've been listening. I think it's been a year at least since I've tuned in. What I would like to hear more about perhaps in the future is about reverts, how they struggle to be accepted within their own families, the little resources that is provided for them in the mosques, how they face the challenges, learning how to pray, and tips on how they can adapt to being a new Muslim in today's society. I would also like for you to touch upon topics about LGBT within the Muslim community, bullying, peer pressure, drug addiction amongst the youth today, and marriage, divorce struggle challenges. That's all I have in mind at the moment. Anyway, I'm looking forward to engaging in 100 plus more shows with you all. Inshallah. Thank you for all your efforts into creating the content you do and just making it happen. I know it's a collective team effort. May Allah scenes. Ameen, Sister Layla.
Walaikum salam, Sister Layla. Thank you so much for that beautiful email. This 100th episode means more to me than my birthday because, it's an opportunity that we share with people that we've never seen, with people that we've never heard, people we never had an experience with personally, but truly just coming together on this virtual platform on a weekly basis and conversing with each other and sharing thoughts. It's not the number of people that engage in the discussion, rather it is the quality of the discussion that we all engage within. And the topics that you have suggested are truly topics that we need to discuss. And that's why Carl and I came up with the idea of Raw Islam. The name Raw Islam is actually about peeling away on the onion until we could get to the core of the onion, i.e., the core of problems in our society, the main issues that need to be addressed. It's not, we didn't begin this as another Islamic podcast because there's 101, if not 1,001 Islamic podcasts out there when it comes to Quran, when it comes to the life of the Prophet, when it comes to Q&A, when it comes to live talk with a mufti. There's so many types of podcasts out there. We were not intending to address a specific crowd or specific people. We wanted to talk with the world. We were not looking for Muslims. We were looking for people of all backgrounds and all faiths, all walks of life, because conversing with each other is the first step towards understanding each other. And then that leads to us sharing the goodness that we have with each other. And when we can unite those good powers together, we can become a force of goodness for all. So inshallah, I want Brother Carl to keep that email, and we will be adding those topics to our polls for the next 100. And no doubt, you all, everyone, and as we say in Dallas, y'all, are most important part of this program. When Carl and I talked about the podcast and the idea floated that we're both going to be engaging and talking like this, it was the best thing for me because I think it's boring for me to sit here for 30 minutes and talk to myself into a small little hole that's the camera. But to have Carl, that we've created a bond. And for those who don't know, Carl and I have not physically met yet. We haven't met yet. But these meetings and our phone calls when we're not able to meet actually it gets me through the week. I'm not going to speak for Carl, but it gets me through the week. And it allows me to look forward to the next week. So what's the deal with 100? And again, thank you so much for that, Sister Laila, and to Sunshine and everyone else. Blessings to all of you. You know, what's the deal with 100? It's ironic that's a topic of discussion tonight, especially when that's been Carl's favorite topic for 99 episodes. No one even voted for it. I think there is a conspiracy here where Carl said to his family and his friends and his colleagues at work, hey, everyone, go on Twitter and vote for this. But you know what? It's a double whammy. We're having the 100th episode in Carl's favorite topic. What is the deal with 100? And the deal is very simple. In cricket terminology, 100 means a century, where a cricket player would hit or be a part of 100 runs, and they would personally make those runs happen. In football terminology, it means the team that you're playing sucks. In baseball, that's a game worth being part of. If it's basketball, an average score. In life, 100 years is a blessing. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that أعمار أمتي بين الستين والسبعين, the lifespan of my nation, meaning the people of this earth, is around 60 to 70 average. So not only have we surpassed the average age if we could hit 100, but we have many, many more years of experience and wisdom and a lot of learning from our mistakes of the past. So 100 in sports terminology and life terminology means a lot. A company that hits 100 years old is seniority. Someone who is of that level on the table has more attention. So what's the deal with 100 aside from there being two zeros and compared to one, which converts 99 into a three-digit number, 100? 100 means a lot for us tonight. And we are just so happy. I'm so happy that it means so much for you all to join us. Carl, what does 100 mean to you?
100 to me means that we have more comments in the chat room.
I don't want you dodging that question,
So
but
I
please.
won't.
Go.
We have Umi says yes. If y'all can talk about why it's important not to change with the times and stick with God's will, that would be wonderful. Sister Layla would like to know why it has taken so long for us to meet. And I think for my answer to that is just location and time, because when we first got introduced to each other, he was living in Florida and I was here in DC. And then by the time I got ready to travel to Florida for some personal business, and I was like, oh, I'll be right near him. I'll go ahead and see him. He moved out to Texas. And the couple of times he's been on the East Coast, I haven't been able to escape the DC area to go see him. So it's just been a series of crossed paths. But yeah, I mean, it's it's funny that you say that these get you through the week, because they do me as well. I look forward to our Tuesday night chats, and unfortunately, I'm usually all kind of jazzed up afterwards, and I don't go to sleep, and then the rest of the week I'm just sluggish because I did this. But I mean, I totally get it, and this is totally. I mean, you're 100%. I look forward to our chats too, and I love speaking with you, and I love being able to share my thoughts and learn, and bonding with you. It's what I enjoy. A couple others down here. Sunshine says that she honestly did vote for What's the Deal With in the past. This week she missed the poll, but in the past she has voted for it. And she also gave us a challenge to meet before we hit episode 150. So that's our challenge there.
So let's do this. You know how that challenge could be met to our listeners? We can meet that challenge if everyone does two things for us. One is to suggest designs for our swag. If the Raw Islam swag of 100 episodes, and we want it to be cheeky, we want it to be semi-provocative, not immodest. We wanted something that turns eyes. Raw Islam, simple swag, simple t-shirt, design it, send it to us. If you could send us that design and we'll start selling it. And when we sell it, if we could make the money from those t-shirts, one of us will buy a ticket and visit the other. And that's the promise before the 50th, 150th episode. The email to send your design to is right below. You can see on the bottom of your screen. Do send that to us. Carl, I thought we designed a t-shirt or I think, yeah, we designed one thing, and that was the Haram Police, I think it was.
The Haram Police never got finished because I need a graphic designer to help with the
Okay.
actual design.
Mhm.
But we did get the what was it? Beating culture out of Islam T-shirt.
Yes.
We did get that done, and there's actually another one up there, and I forget what it is, but it's not ours. I will give a shout out to those of you on Twitter. And in fact, if you're on Twitter right now, please go and open the app as long as you're watching this on your laptop, because I don't want you to close this window so we don't lose you. But if you have the opportunity, go and compose a tweet and tag the Rogue Muslim. She's a Canadian. She runs a podcast out of Canada, and it's about Islamic culture. And she actually had a T-shirt that she gave me. I forget what it was, but it's up in the store with her slogan. I forget what it is, but it was really good because I remember reading it and I was like, "That's awesome! Can I put that on a T-shirt?" And she said, "Sure." So
Wow.
thank you to the Rogue Muslim for that.
Wow. That's
But
beautiful.
so back to your original question, 100 for me is a milestone um, because a lot of podcasts don't get that far. A lot of podcasts end up pod fading and they don't end up continuing and growing. And so 100 episodes to me it's a landmark, and I really enjoy it, and I enjoy that we're still going strong. I enjoy that we're still have a lot to talk about and a lot to cover. And I think for me, when you say 100, my mind does automatically fall to a century. You know, it's a 100 years, and you look back and you say, what has happened with society and the technical revolution with Moore's law over the past 100 years? I mean, 100 years ago, they didn't think they could land on the moon, and now we have more technology in this little item here
Mhm.
than what was on the initial spaceship that took people to the moon.
Correct.
So, I mean, it's, there's been a lot of change and a lot of evolution of society and whatnot over the last 100 years. And as you alluded, even over the last 100 episodes, we've had that. And I've really enjoyed that. And I'm excited to see what the next 100 episode brings.
And that's, Carl, touches my heart, and thank you so much. I don't want to cry today, but it really does mean a lot. I never felt the gravity of this until we are actually conversing about it. But alhamdulillah, we thank Allah, the Almighty, um, who brought us together out of a very unfortunate circumstance that occurred in Orlando, the shooting where I was a guest on Carl's podcast with another two individuals to discuss the response team effort. And that's where it stemmed from, for those who never knew where this whole thing began. And within the span of less than 3 years, right? It's two and a bit, keeping in mind vacations, Ramadan,
Yeah.
Hajj, and all the other things that come in between. It's been a good ride. It's really been a good ride, and it allows us to look back and reflect. And so, before we talk about where we're gonna go for the next 100, what we intend, I want everyone to do us another favor tonight. In addition to the swag, which is very important, because keep in mind, uh, there is no financial gain at this time from what Brother Carl and I are doing. This is our passion to see each other and to speak to all of you on a weekly basis. But the swag will help us move things up a bit and give a bit more time towards the things that we need to do for the sake of this show. So if you have an Android or you have an Apple phone and you have iOS, you have the Apple Store, you have Google Play, you can go to the audio music store and you can look for our podcast and you can subscribe to it for free. And there's no charge to it. And if you share it with your friends, you can look back at 100 episodes that have happened within the span of that 2+ years. The more people that we get, the more traction we create, the more ability we have to pull in some funds that could allow us to really tweak and adjust this show. All credit goes to Carl. He does all the legwork, he does all the audio preparation, he does all the uploading, the live streaming, the uh, episode documentation, launching it on VennNetwork.org, launching it on Stitcher, launching it up on Google Play and iTunes. So really, for me, it's a 30-minute engagement, max maybe an hour when it comes to an extended episode plus preparation or discussion that occur prior to it. But Carl's putting in the hours, so I want to give Carl a virtual cake tonight and say, thank you, and blow those 100 candles, and we'll sit together and blow 150 together, inshallah. But where the next 150 will go is really where our audience wants it to go. And what I see as a person who works in the community is that we're having a very swift shift in perceptions, ideologies, what we define as the moral correct way of doing things. And we're not here to challenge the new status quo. Rather, we're here to discuss what has functioned for millenniums. The way our world functioned, the way human beings function with each other. I'm sure all of you who are at least in your 40s or 50s can agree that within your generation time, you've seen numerous changes, shifts that maybe your parents never saw in 80 years. And so, what I want our discussions to become and evolve into in the next 50 episodes, let's be realistic, is a more aggressive, targeted approach on discussions that really need to happen. They don't have to be faith related. If you look at all our discussions, we've never had faith based discussions, nor do we do comparative religions, nor did we do putting down of religions. Raw Islam is actually reviving that platform where Muslims through Islams can have greater discussions outside the realm of what they may consider the faith to be and deeper than what they perceive the faith to be. And that's really what we're doing. We do give an Islamic touch to allow our Muslim listeners and ourselves as speakers to understand the importance of the takeaways for ourselves as much as we want you all to take away something from the show. But we want real discussions. We want collaborative discussions. We want to see another face on these episodes. It could be any one of our listeners. If they don't want to come in with their face, it could come in with their voice, and they could be present, and we could have a dialogue. We could have a coffee style discussion where these issues are not only being brought up, but these issues are being discussed, and we could even bring in experts to help us understand what is the right way to start changing it. Remember, we can't change the world in 30 minutes or solve the world, but 30 minutes could be the pivoting step that allows the world to be changed. And why not Raw Islam? Why not this show? Why not this episode? Why not you, just you as an individual? You may be sitting in a room right now with your families and friends, or you may be sitting alone. Guess what? You're enough to change the world. And I believe that we need to inspire each other to believe that. Because when we believe it, we can do it. We're not talking about revolutions here. We're not talking about throwing over governments. We're talking about being the best that we can be and being that light to people who are drowning in the darkness of uncertainty and depression and anxiety and problems. We want to be those lights. And if we have a world full of lights, we're only gonna make the sun seem that we are a reflection of it on this earth. And so that's where I want to see it go for the next 100 episodes. Carl, I would like to hear from you and our listeners if they're engaging with us, what their thoughts are. And let's hear from our listeners. And then, of course, yourself, Carl. What is it that you want to see the next 50? Let's not go 100. Let's see the next 50. Where do you want to see that going?
Yeah, I was actually looking at the comment section here, and Sister Layla, I hope that that answered your question about the T-shirts. If it didn't, hit us up, and we'll throw it back out there. But I think for me, honestly, and I was thinking about this when you were talking about it. I think over the last 100 episodes, one of the coolest that we did, and I can't remember if we recorded it and broadcast it later, or if we did it live and then edited it. I forget what it was, like how we did it. But one of my favorite episodes was when you were it was year before last when you went to Hajj, and you were in like the some of the areas, and you had your cell phone, and we did this live.
We did it live from
Yeah,
Medina.
and you
We did
were, yeah,
after the Fajr prayer.
yeah, for me that was really cool, and that was one of my. I mean, we've had a lot of awesome discussions, and I can tell you what some of our best discussions are based on numbers, like what people are watching and listening to and stuff. But I know for me, as far as a coolness factor, that was one of the coolest episodes that we've done. I was like, this is awesome. So, I mean, that was for me.
Alhamdulillah, yeah, I remember that Carl and I had discussed continuing the show while I went out to pilgrimage, and we checked the timing. It would be after morning prayer in Saudi Arabia, while it'd be kind of getting late at night here in Virginia. And if I'm not wrong, we were doing like around 9:30 your time. In Saudi, it was like around 5 o'clock in the morning. And so when I went to open up the internet for live streaming through Facebook, I realized that it wasn't possible to do so because they have a network blockage on those things. And while I was frustrated trying to figure this thing out, like how come I can't, you can't do WhatsApp video calls or audio calls, nor can you do Viber, Facebook Messenger. And it was frustrating. You could do text, but you can't do videos and audios. And so a guy I think from South Africa. He came up to
It
me
was,
after
yeah,
the prayer and he saw me outside in the courtyard just doing all these frantic things. He's like, "What's going on?" I said, "I'm supposed to have a live podcast episode. We're going to do it through this platform, and I can't." So he helped download an app which allowed me to access Carl, and we had a real good discussion that day. I still remember the serenity, the
yeah,
purpleness in the sky. The
yeah,
early morning sunrise occurred just a bit after we finished, and it was live from Saudi Arabia. And you know what? If our listeners can participate and engage us, one day we'll be coming to you live from different parts of the world. And we'll be bringing to you different messages, different perspectives. We're not going to become a news show or outlet. And keep in mind, many of the night shows or the comedy shows, the weekend shows have evolved more to discuss politics and news than politics that people from different angles of approach feel it is necessary for them to discuss it within the realm of how they discuss things, maybe through comedy, humor, talk shows, or whatever else the case may be. But what we want to do is give you a first-hand touch approach of our world. Today we're coming to you from two different cities of the same beautiful country. Tomorrow we could be coming to you from different countries, from different cities of different countries, and giving you the opportunity to not just see what's happening there, but to hear from us in our conversations with the people or the people's conversation with you. What can you take away from what can you take away from Bristol? What can you take away from Glasgow? What can you take away from Jinja? What can you take away from Riyadh? What can you take away from Kuala Lumpur? What could you take away from Singapore? There's countries and cities that we could, inshallah, come to you from and actually tell you as a listener, someone who's living here in America, who may not have been able to go to those countries, what is a perspective and understanding of our discussions on those platforms in those areas. So Carl, that's really what I think we should dream to do, we hope to do, and Allah knows if that will be possible, but we're willing to give it a shot, courtesy of you all, our listeners who've been with us along the way for this 100 episodes, and inshallah, God willing, many more to come. Back to you, Carl.
Inshallah. Sister Layla says that her favorite episode was the one with a young lady named Jennifer for an interfaith
Yes.
episode. That was her favorite. She enjoyed that one the most. Yeah, honestly, it's the evolution that this has taken from when we started has been absolutely amazing, and I have loved every second of it. And it really is due to the beauty of the internet that we can do this anywhere. I mean, as long as we have an internet connection. I mean, there's even times we didn't have an internet connection, and Imam Mazhar would call in on do the video by his phone. How's that
Yeah.
for dedication, folks?
Yeah.
But
I remember that I was in a rally, downtown Tampa, and it was time for our show. And I continued following the rally, and we were having our conversation, letting you guys know firsthand what's happening. Sorry to cut you off there, Carl, but yeah, those were just epic moments. It was like, we're not going to stop. We're going to take you with us wherever we go. And so I learned that from this man, from Carl, with his dedication, coming home, setting up his equipment every week to sit with us. But yeah, sorry, continue, Carl. Sorry.
don't apologize. These are the moments. This is why we're here. This is what we've been doing for 100 episodes. And it is. I'm hopeful for 50. And I mean, I know it's kind of cliche, but I am looking for 100 more episodes. I really am, and even beyond, because I do look forward to these conversations. I look forward to our time together in the evenings on Tuesdays. And it is that little, I don't know, it's that little spiritual just kick in the butt to get you through the rest of the week. Because I mean, as Muslims, we go to Friday prayer, and some of our any listeners that are Seventh Day Adventists or whatever, they may go on Saturday, and some of our Christians may attend their services on Sundays. And this is just for me, this is just my midweek go be good push, and I know I need that, and that's part of the reason why I enjoy this so much. But looking at our time, I think I will throw it back to you for your final thoughts as you finish out your thoughts on what's the deal with 100.
The deal with 100, thank you so much, Carl, for those kind words. And thank you to our listeners once again for tuning in and for engaging with us. The milestone 50 for the next stop is to make sure that we are focus oriented on getting somewhere. And inshallah, Allah willing, we will continue to change it up after that 50 for another 50, and then inshallah another 50, just to make sure that we are constantly going back to the drawing board and making sure that even 30 minutes a week is worth your time to be a part of this great discussion. Closing thoughts for tonight. 100 to me means Allah's blessing, that the Lord Almighty has truly given us His blessing to get this far. And all we ask is for His continued blessings to get further to whichever number He decrees and decides for us. So there's no deal with 100. 100, you're beautiful. 100, thank you for actually adding that one extra digit for us. And thank you for adding one more listener to our show and one more person to comment and question and engage. Thank you for allowing us to be here weekly whenever we promise our crowd and audience. And thank you for having them patiently wait for us and our 1, 2, 5, or 10 minute glitches just to get in touch with them and start that show as we promised. So blessings to everyone for that. Thank you so much. Tonight's conversation was merely a reflection and a commitment and an intent to move forward. And we thank you for everything, and we thank you for being a part of this continuous journey with us. Back to you, Carl.
Sunshine sent a heart. I'm not quite sure what that means, but she sent a heart. I think that means she loves the show or loves your words, or I hope it's not a medical condition. Are you saying you're having a heart problem? Is that why it's just a heart? Should we dial 911? Are you okay? Blink twice if you're okay. No,
Carl
sorry.
is so bad.
I know. I'm a horrible person. I know. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of the 100th episode. If at the end of this episode you are still asking yourself, what's the deal with 100? I would tell you to go back and watch the other 99 episodes. Over the years, we've brought a lot of joy, and we've brought some heavy topics and some light topics, and it's all for you guys. It's all for your entertainment, for your education, for your edutainment, one of my favorite words. And it is my joy to be here with you guys on Tuesdays. And I look forward to doing the next 50 with everybody's input, because as you guys have seen tonight, when you guys are engaged, the show's just that much better. So I would encourage all of you to become engaged, share it, send emails, send voicemails, send text messages, and make sure if you're new and the first time you're seeing this, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And when you subscribe, make sure you hit the little bell so that you get the alert when we go live. And as Imam Azhar said, I looked up her T-shirt from the Rogue Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
It says, not responsible for things said while waking up for sahur.
Oh, interesting. That's a nice one.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty clever. So,
but Carl, before you break, I want to stop you. I want a request from you, and I think our listeners will agree. Edutainment is a word that I struggled, but I learned. I think we need to incorporate that word, an edutainment podcast. Raw Islam with Imam Azhar, and we could put those little dashes and Carl, because you are a vital part of this show. I know you always said no. An edutainment podcast for you, the listener. And we're going to spice up, hopefully, our cover and our image. Keep in mind, everyone, this was a Podcast of the Year nominated podcast. So alhamdulillah, mashallah, we thank God for that. And that's all due to, again, Carl's hard work. But Carl, you continue.
So make sure you head over to VennNetwork.org and check out the swag tag, the swag tab, where you can find all the T-shirts that Imam Azhar was talking about. They help support the network. They help support the hosts. And as you heard, it'll help support the two of us actually meeting face-to-face, inshallah. So I guess, ladies and gentlemen, until 101, we will say, Assalamu alaikum.